Okay. I think we're live. On my end, we're live.
Okay, I will roll my intro now.
Okay. Alright, just a quick one. John, do you remember what number this is? This is 25th, right?
I don't know.
Was it 26? I
Don't
think it's
remember.
26. Ah,
Feels like 26.
I think I labeled it wrong. Wonderful.
Relabel it now.
Does it matter though? Hang on. Let me bring out my browser. So how was your celebration, man? From last week? Last week, New Year.
Right. Visited some friends. Had a lot of steamboat.
A lot of steamboat.
Yeah.
You know,
Gained a lot of calories.
you know we have had the thing for 20 plus weeks and then you missed one. You broke the record. You broke the streak.
Oh, we're live now, by the way.
Oh, you're live now. Oh, hi.
You can hear you.
Hello.
So guys, this is Chiny, Ken, and John.
Hello.
Hello.
Different senpais, basically.
Yeah.
They worked on Space Jack, and I'm not sure. John, you didn't work on Serious Scramblers, right? That was just Chiny, right?
No.
Is it?
Yeah, that's just Chiny. That's just Chiny.
But he helped me play test, you know. It's the usual.
Nito Burrito.
Nito burrito.
Nice.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
So should we start the thing?
Yeah. Let me just bring up the. You guys are sharing your screens, right? Or am I starting first?
Yeah, starting first. I don't think my computer can take like 3 screen sharing at once.
Oh, okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll start first. Let me just make sure everything is working. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I did a bunch of stuff this week. This is the stuff that I did. Actually, I did a bunch more stuff than what? Tile art, hostages, pressure plates. Oh wait, I did spikes as well. Wow. Fascinating. So I did like a redundant interactable system. I made it so that, let me just show you. So I made it, okay, I also actually the art will probably be easier to talk about first. Can you see this?
Yes.
So the art was basically overhauled. I did some existing work on the tiles so that they will actually deform differently. So for example, if you see this, right, I cut this, you see this part is very curved, this part is very sharp, right? Yeah, so like that's one of the things I worked on. And then I overhauled some of the art, I changed some of the color palettes, and then so all the rest of the stuff is still there, like the soblets and stuff like that. But then we also have these hostages that are really stupid. Also, I think somebody just died. Anyway, thanks for the contribution to the boost, Jennifer. So these guys, you can rescue them. You're supposed to rescue them, but they will walk into everything, including explosive barrels. So like, for example, if there's no wall, they'll just keep walking. They also walk through slopes and stuff, and they can trigger stuff. So they saw the guy just trigger a pressure plate, which is something else that I did. So the pressure plate is you can step on it and it will move this thing from back and forth, basically, from here to here. Then you step off it, it will do this. And every object can trigger it like this. Yeah. So like, if you trigger it like this, you can also like push it off and then it will stop triggering. Also, we have this guy. It's like, so like there's this so the idea behind my game, the story is like, oh, thanks for the contribution, last little Tim. I hope you guys don't mind me reading out when chat says stuff.
Oh, that's fine.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So we the first gang is the Croco Loco gang. You're basically like this rogue cop, this frog cop, and you're like, man, I'm gonna like save all these hostages from these amazing underwater mutant gangsters. So like the first one, these are demolitions experts, so you can like lob it back in his face and he destroys it. And you can also like, so the grenade actually is a regular item, so that feeds quite well into the interactable system, I think. So the interactable system, I overhauled it so that everything is interactable. Like the player is an interactable, right? So everything can die and everything can have a specific set of like rules applied to it. So like for example, right, everything that can move can affect this pressure plate, stuff like that. And then like the grenade, right, if the grenade goes into here, it can shoot out of this cannon without me having to do anything else, because it's just components and like inheritance, like a shallow inheritance and like a bunch of extra components that I deal with myself.
Okay.
So for example, let me just show to like an example so that I can explain it better. So I have this thing called contact response, right? And contact response is basically for collision and triggers. So they can do stuff like, oh, it can be damaged or it can be damageable, or it can, for example, destroy tiles. So if I apply this onto an object, then it will automatically destroy tiles whenever it touches a wall. And then stuff like it can be pushed around by objects, stuff like that. So whenever I want to create something, right, like for example, I create a spike, right?
Yeah.
All I need to do is I need to, well, thanks for the community challenge contribution. It's a 75% complete, apparently. I don't know what that means. I don't know how Twitch works. Oh, why are those classes serializable? So somebody in chat is asking, why are those classes serializable? Prodi is asking that. Those classes are serializable so that I can see them in the inspector, because Unity can be a bit weird when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I have to say on purpose, oh, these classes are serializable so that when I make them public, you can actually see the details inside the inspector.
Right.
Yeah, so to make spikes, right, this is all the code for the spikes. This is it. I just make it so that it will damage stuff and make it so that it's indestructible. That's it. The good thing about this is that like if I do it this way, I can like add delegates, and then like when it hits something, I can just say, oh, do this other thing, and I can be very specific about how the behavior works. So I can basically override any of the existing behavior within each component. Also, there's death responses. So for example, if you die, you can, for example, spawn a prefab on death. And because I have a resource manager, I can basically make it so that it can spawn particle systems. So for example, let's see, base enemy, not base enemy, enemy control. So if like, for example, in this one, right, in load responses, you can see it will create, it will actually destroy everything in its vicinity when it dies. And also it will damage everything except enemies of like its own kind, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it makes it very easy to like make these kind of things. Like the code is relatively short for all of these existing things, except for the cannon. The cannon is a pain in the ass. So it's like you have to. The cannon is a lot of code because like it needs to deal with a lot of edge cases. But other than that, making new enemies and new types of behaviors is really easy to do. Yeah. So also there's like some visual overhauls. Like let me just. So for example, is he still alive? Oh, I killed him. Oops. Oh yeah, this guy. So I like this guy is animated completely through code right now. I basically just did this. I had like an arm, and then I had like this guy. And I put a bunch of particle systems, and then like I made it so that when he shoots, right, it does a numerical spring. The one I talked to you about last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does a numerical spring, and then it does it on a rotation. So it like makes it so that he does a recall, and that makes it very easy to make this kind of. I think this entire animation thing, right, was done like I think 10 minutes before we started talking. I just draw it real quick and then just animate it so they have something more interesting to show.
I see.
Previously, it was just a static spread, but it makes it really easy to do this kind of things if you like get a lot of shortcuts, I guess. But yeah, stuff like the grenade was a lot easier to make because I can. For example, I can say for the grenade, this is all the code I need for it. I can just say, you die within this amount of time, right? But also if you get hit by something else or if you hit an enemy, just kill it immediately, something like that.
Right.
And when you die, then create an explosion, and then after that, try to damage everything around you. So that's a very it's very modular in that sense. Let's see. Also, I made spikes. Hey, cool, spikes. Every game needs spikes.
Hey, yes, every game needs spikes.
Yes. I also overhauled some of the artwork. I attempted some stuff like, for example, I now have this cool thing in Sprite called fast bit. So I can actually set a number of bits per channel. And what this does is basically, right, if I have a color like this, right, I can basically modify it in discrete values. So it makes it very easy to create a very consistent color palette. Because when you're working with continuous color palettes, it becomes very hard to manage. But if you're dealing with a discrete set of numbers, right, it becomes much easier to think in your head, oh, I just need to move this 2 to the right, and it will be completely gray.
Is there something visual that we can see, like how this impacts the look?
Yeah. So for example, right, like let me open up my tiles, right. So for example, if I want to affect some of my tiles here, right, I can, for example, grab this, right, and then after I can say it's not locked, right. So I can adjust this Oh, the thing is, this is a bit buggy at the moment. So if I have multiple ones open, then after I won't adjust it properly. But usually what it will do, it will adjust the color on the fly. So it'll adjust all the colors in here if it's indexed. Let me just set this to index mode and try it again. Let me see if this works. No, it doesn't. Sometimes it gets a bit buggy. I have to like reopen because this wasn't written by me, but it makes it very easy to create discrete color palettes.
Nice.
And that's how I work with like all this stuff.
So this is a plugin and not part of the official.
This is not part of the official, but I actually heavily recommend it because colors are something that I find very hard to work with, right? Because color theory and all that is very hard to figure out. But once you actually boil it down to a discrete set of values and say like, for example, if it's 444, right, it will be completely gray. So you know for sure that's completely gray. You put it 5, it's just a bit more greenish. And if you put this all at a high value, then it will be much lighter. So it's like, it's a lot easier to deal with when you use something like this.
Right,
than if you use like a HSV slider or something like this.
Right.
That's why a lot of artists actually just use RGB sliders. They don't actually use this stuff. A lot of them just use this. But those are the old school artists. A lot of new artists do use the HSV. But yeah, this one actually helps a lot with pixel art palettes in particular. So I got this recommendation from a pixel artist I knew. Also, let's see. So I basically did redone a bunch of tiles. I did some of the background tiles as well. This one is like just some placeholder. This looks terrible. I don't know why I put it here. But like it's like I basically wanted more options in order to kind of be able to make more levels with. And at this point, I think I have enough to be able to make more levels, because I'm not gonna show everything in each level. Like it's just gonna be it's gonna be like in each level you unlock a new mechanic that you can play with. Kind of like in Jump Jaboa, there's like you don't immediately get the portals, right? So yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I'm getting
so
some Castlevania vibes from the tiles.
oh yeah. I'm a big fan of Castlevania. Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask like what is the motivation behind the new tile set design as well.
Oh yeah, so the thing is, right, previously, let me just show you the previous art. So the previous art was like this, right? Let me just, oh my god, you can see my face. Okay, so the previous one was something like this, right? Something like that. But I look at this and I was like, okay, what's my setting? Let's see. My setting is like this kind of gangster world where like they take hostages and you're like in the mutant apocalypse kind of thing, right? And you're like a mutant frog policeman or something. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know where I am. So it's like, if I change the color palette, I was like, maybe I can make it a bit more industrial looking. Then at least it looks like it's in somewhere, like some factory or something. Like at least I can like put some graffiti in the background or something, and it will make sense, right? If I just had like pink and purple and make it very abstract, then after it doesn't really play with the theme. I've also been working on some narrative design. Narrative design is to put it very loosely. Like I think like one of my lines is like, I'm gonna calculate how to go Steve Irwin on your crocodile ass. So I don't think it's a very it's not the smartest of dialogue. But wait, am I allowed to curse on this show?
Ah, that's fine. It's up to you.
Okay, alright. Sorry if I'm not. But
It's okay.
okay, so but basically I was like, wow, this is a pretty stupid game. So I'm like, I need some. It's a stupid game, but like even a stupid game kind of needs some kind of grounded setting, right? In order to make the players at least feel that the characters are somewhat real.
Right,
so I plan on making that like someone in my chat says speech 100. Oh, it's my student. Oh hi. Don't tell your parents I said that word. Okay, so like yes. Also on top of that, I think I did. Let's see. I covered the pressure plates. I covered the
Spikes.
this thing which can move everything, spikes, hostages. So actually, let me show you something. Like let me just play through the level like two ways. So for example, you can do this. Like this is one way to complete it, right? And I'm just gonna complete the level like how I normally would complete. Okay, I just died. Maybe I should just show a video because I took a video of like comparison.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one way of completing the level, right? This is from an older thing, so the tile set is different. But as you can see, I'm using a lot of like the environment to actually destroy them in different ways. But there's actually multiple ways of destroying them using the environment. So I'll show what I mean after this. So this is the first video, right?
Yeah.
And the second video is this. So now I'm pushing from the top, and I'm going through this way, right? So I'm doing the same thing. I'm hitting into the spikes, but now I'm hitting the spikes over here. Then letting the spikes fall on this one. Then it is a completely different route. It's a bit of the same playstyle here and there because there's not that many interactables, so there's not much choice. But it's a completely different route and a different like
Equally
playing
valid
experience.
routes, right?
Yeah, equally valid routes. I didn't want any route to feel like very dominant over the other routes, right? So I wanted to make it so that like it's much more of it. Have you ever played like immersive sims like Deus Ex or Bioshock? Like
Bioshock,
those
yes.
kind of,
Bioshock,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I've been playing them again recently because I was like, I kind of am a fan of systemic design, right? And I was watching some talks on systemic design, and that's how I got the idea for the input-output system, and how I ended up making my interactable system.
Right.
But what I want for the goal of the game is to be able to approach the level however you want it, and be able to be creative in how you approach the level. So that's the main draw of the game for me. That's why I didn't make it so that you can kill the enemies with the tongue.
Right.
Outright. Yeah.
Right.
So
So
that's-
you're not gonna do the melee thing that you were considering last week, right?
yeah, I was heavily considering it, but then like if I do it, it will be very dangerous and probably will have a high risk reward. Because if I do it, it's compromising one of the main tenets of the game. And the only reason I will do it is if it causes a lot of inconvenience to the player to not have it.
Right.
So I'm still considering that, but I'm leaning towards no. I'm probably gonna make the level design so that you can use your tongue for basically whatever you want. Also, let's see, what else is there? Yeah, so basically, you can go about it whatever you want. I talked about the systemic design of it, and I think that's about all I did this week. For the next week, I'm probably planning to do more of, not so much on the mechanics. I plan on building out several levels based on the current mechanics and having people playtest already. Because I think I have enough. I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Sure, I think you have enough mechanics.
Yeah. You can probably already make a few levels and test how test the controls, right? Test how people react to the different mechanics. Yeah, you don't really have to add more to it before testing. I think this is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some interactables that I haven't shown yet because they're a bit buggy, so I didn't want to show it in this build.
Right.
But there's some that I already have mostly working. Like rockets that when you hit, they will fly away, and then after they'll destroy whatever they hit, and they can be affected by whatever that triggers them. Like they can be affected by this. Something can walk into them and trigger them, whatever. So I wanted this whole playground, like the sandbox kind of environment. So I think if I want to do that, but I still want some direction, playtesting will be pretty crucial.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, John, did you see this? I think I showed Chiny, but I didn't show you. This build and upload thing.
I watched the stream last week.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you watch everything.
It was really cool. You have an automated system for building and uploading to itch.
Yeah, it makes things like really convenient in a way. And I realized like during the week, right? Actually, Chiny, your game can actually use it. I think because like I was looking into it, and game maker files also need to modify it. Like they're not completely modified, so it will just
right. Especially in YYC, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what I need is some automated system for the App Store. Yes. So I used to use one, and then Apple likes to keep updating their interface, right? So it stopped working, and then I never look into solving that problem. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes.
But at some point, I will have to look into it again, right? I'll have to maybe find some other third-party solution, to help automate this whole thing.
Right.
My biggest problem is not so much the uploading, right? It's if you were to publish some updates, you need to kind of update all of the description text in every single languages. I need the tool to support that particular feature.
sounds like you have to do something custom for that then.
Or I can rely on some third-party solution. Yeah.
Pipe everything through Google Translate.
What?
Pipe everything into Google Translate.
No
Oh,
way,
yeah,
man.
no way.
No. It's Google Translate. Come on. No, but what I'm saying is that if you are doing it through the App Store interface, you kind of have to click on the drop-down box, right? Select the language, change that particular text field, and then go to the next one and change it. And then if you are supporting like 12 languages, then you have to do that 12 times. I have been doing that. I haven't really looked into an automated solution. And
I see.
yeah, it's now that you know, I've seen you focusing on automation, right? I feel like maybe I should have spent some time looking into automation as well.
Actually, it's fairly easy to do with Python, but I just put that out there since we're talking about it.
Okay.
There's actually this way of actually emulating a web browser through Python. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but like you can actually emulate clicks and like focusing on certain text boxes and stuff, and it's fairly easy to do.
Oh,
Selenium.
I know, a Chrome driver. I think that's what they call it.
So John is familiar with that as
Selenium
well. Selenium.
I haven't used it, yeah, but I think there's another product called Selenium that also does the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
So what do you mean? You can get individual field by the name itself?
Yeah, if you know the IDs of the fields and all that.
Oh, that's impressive.
Can sort of direct the browser to this simulated browser to
So
click on those
in other
fields.
words, I can write a sequence of steps and then it will just automate it for me.
Yep, it's fairly easy to do as well. So actually, I've been playing around with some Python stuff and it's very good for automation. And I've been using some of that for mine as well. Not for this project in particular, but like yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for the next week, I'm probably gonna focus on like the levels, but also I want to focus a bit more on the story because at this point I got most of the mechanics fleshed out and I got most of the game feel like kind of I can feel where the game is going, not game feel in particular, but like I can understand like where the game is kind of like leading its way to. So I feel like at this point I should flesh out a story and a setting so that I can frame the rest of the interactions better. Like for example, if I made it so that like my original gangster, what?
Gangster.
The original idea was that this guy is like a bencho frog, right? Like do I have the? Wait,
That's the pompadour.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one.
There we go.
Yeah, I was like, I drew this. I was like, this is a concept art.
There we
I was
go.
Like, I was like, hell yes. I was like, gonna give him a big pompadour. I was like, but then now the more I think about it, I'm like, wait, it doesn't make sense that this guy's a gangster. He's going through saving hostages. So I need to like figure that part out. He's probably still gonna have a pompadour because pompadours are cooler. That's my main reason.
Right. Hey John, didn't we have like a project that we shelved called Pompadours?
Yeah. What was it called?
I don't know.
It
Project
was like some brawler or something where you
dang.
use your pompadours to fight each other.
What the hell? That's awesome.
No, but we didn't go through with it. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of my ideas are like just based off how cool the idea will be. Or like, I think I had one game just about suplexing people. Like you suplex the person, then they explode. That's your special power.
Awesome. I look
So,
forward to playing that.
No, I answer. It was like a while ago. But like yeah. So I did this pompadour thing, and the story thing. I want to flesh it out. So my next week, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flesh out the interactions, like story interactions, and I'm gonna do some of the levels, and I'll try to make something that people can playtest, both in terms of like mechanics, but also I want to get feedback on how they feel about a story.
Right.
Because some things.
Oh, sorry. Do you actually mean the plot or like the backstory and the premise?
I mean both, I think.
Both.
Like, I don't want there to be too much ludonarrative dissonance. You know what the term is, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, like for example, right, this guy is a huge badass frog dude who doesn't take shit, and then he can't punch anyone. He just uses his thumb. Like, what? Why?
Right.
Yeah, it's like I have to figure this out. I can't just like, oh man, he's this huge. Then he just like just hitting things and they don't die.
Right. You don't want that disconnect, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, even if it's a stupid story, which I plan to make, I love stupid stories. I love making stupid games, but like I need to have some sort of sense in there.
Right.
Also, my
Frog is
chat
me.
is like gangster frog saves with gangster bros, and also people are pointing out that it's not a frog, it's a toad. Yeah, I'm sorry.
How do you tell?
I'm sorry. I mean, the game is called Total Carnage, so
Oh, right. Totally carnage. Right.
yeah. But yeah, that's from my side. I'm trying desperately to think. Because I'm pretty sure I missed something out. But
If you miss it out, you can talk about it again next stream as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. But let me just go through for 1 minute. Let me just make sure that there's nothing.
Yeah, sure.
I have a quick question though.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any good ways of anchoring stuff like particle systems and all that to your animated sprites? Like your flying croc has particles on the jetpack and on the rifle rocket launcher,
yeah.
grenade launcher.
So for this guy, right? This guy is like procedurally animated. He doesn't have actual animations. It's not sprite animation. It's a procedural like rotation-based animation with numerical springing. But if you're trying to do a thing where like you can anchor particles to certain things in Unity, right? That is a problem if you're using a custom animation system like I am. So I have this animation system called it's called Chao and Nim. Very creative name, I know. So like so I got this thing where like I can import the sprites directly. I think I showed it last time, but that won't allow me to move around objects during the timeline, right? Because it's just showing the different frames. However, if you do it the normal way, like you go into Unity, you slice it, then you make an animation out of it, that will only change the sprite renderer of it, right? It will allow you to actually change all of the other properties as well. So you can actually move around the particles or whatever while you're animating it. Unfortunately, it's like kind of a give and take, because if you use that system, right, it's gonna be a lot longer for you to import your animations. It's a lot more difficult to actually control it. If you use my system, or you use a custom animation system, then you have no way of actually moving around the particles. But there's an in-between. So the in-between is a paid tool, but it's like $10 or $5 or something.
Power
For
Sprite.
Unity, it's called Power Sprite Animator. It's a tool made by, you know the Chasm guys, right? Chiny, I think you know of them, like these guys.
Yes.
Yeah. So they made this tool, right, and they allow you to actually do sprite-based animation, right, and import it easily. But they also, under the hood, use the Unity Animator tools. So you can actually modify pivots and stuff inside of this editor that they made themselves. And it's $10. It goes on 5 on sale. Very, very worth it. But I like full control over what I do, so I made my own little animation system.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. The last thing that I wanted to do for next week is to start adding animations, because my artist friends are screaming in my ear directly saying, "Where's the animations?" And I'm like, okay, I'll add animations. So I gotta do that, unfortunately. Animation's a pain in the butt. Like, it's like, oh my god, I have to draw the same thing 100 times over.
Are you going to put spikes in every level?
Actually probably yes, because otherwise, actually no, in some cases maybe don't need, like this can be a road or something, and you can jump up. But most cases I think spikes will be fairly useful in order to deter them from falling too far.
Yeah, and you can kill the enemies with the spikes as well, right?
You can. So yeah.
In that case, you might not need a melee kind of combat kind of thing, because you can always try to lure your enemies to the spikes and then.
Oh yeah.
It's a long way around, right? But that's what you get for not playing with the other mechanics on the.
Game, but I don't want to punish the player too much, so I'm trying to figure out certain. So when I was thinking about this, right, I was thinking like, how can I frame my level design in such a way, right, that the player will not be punished too much for not playing with the mechanics directly. So what I did was I added a lot more of these indestructible walls and spikes that will fall on them. So even if you mess up, there's still a spike, quote unquote, for you to hit it into, you know?
Right.
That's why I wanted to have more of these kind of objects, so that I don't punish the player through my level design, if that makes sense. If, for example, these were not here, right? And I was only using explosive barrels. Imagine these were all explosive barrels, right? Then if the player doesn't kill the enemy, he's screwed. He can't do anything about it. He has to go all the way back here and then hit them in. And that's not fun, that's just not fun. So I wanted to make it so that there's always a way to kill them, even if it's harder. If they drop and you try to hit them from above, you're at risk because you can jump into them, you can jump into the saw blade, and you might mistime it and just accidentally have them hit into you. It's a lot harder to do it than if you just hit them from below. So verticality matters in this game as well.
Right.
That's why you want to normally hit them from a position where you're either grounded or you're below them, if that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's yeah. I think that's about it from my side. Yeah.
Ayan Yang has something to say about your spikes.
Yeah.
This is, I think I have PTSD from Mega Man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mega Man is messed up when it comes to spikes, especially for Mega Man Zero, which I was playing recently.
Wait, you played Zero? Oh, Zero is so awesome.
Zero is hard as hell.
GBA one, right? The GBA one.
The GBA one. They re-released it.
That is so bloody good.
Is the hardest one. Like, it's harder than X and it's harder than like the NES one even.
Is it really harder than X though?
It's harder than X for sure, I think, but like it's harder than the NES one. It's a bit debatable, I think.
Yeah, I think the NES one is still the most cruel.
Really? I finished 2 and I found it far easier than like.
No, but
Zero.
there's a lot of them, right? There's like 1 all the way
Yeah,
to what?
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
The, like I think like the later ones, there's like some that like really ramp up the difficulty. Yeah.
Right.
I only played like 2 and X, so I can't really comment.
2 and X, I see.
I played all the Castlevanias, which probably inspired the whip tongue.
I see. No, but
Yeah.
your tongue is a lot more flexible than Simon's sweep.
Except for 4.
Except for 4.
Super Castlevania 4, you can actually whip the tongue and you can actually use Valet integration physics to like whip it around.
Really?
You can like hold it and you can just like swing it about.
And then you
it's
go
like,
floppy, is it? And then you can.
you go floppy, yeah.
Ah,
And you can use
yeah.
a grapple. So use a grapple.
I see. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it
doesn't
from
mean
my
it's
side.
okay. That means it's John's turn, right? John, can you share your screen?
I stop streaming, right?
Yeah.
My turn. Okay, how do
Yeah.
I do this?
As my computer apparently is dying.
Oh, no.
Come on, John.
Oh, no. It's not sharing.
Where's your screen?
Share the screen. Go live.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Alright. And it's my turn. Let me see. What am I
This is the 25th Death Chat for you, right? Since you missed last week's one. Can you just bring us up to speed?
up to speed.
Yeah, since
What
we missed 1
happened
week of it.
a few weeks back? A few weeks back, we had Tetris on the GBA.
Yeah.
Oh dang. Music.
The music
With
from
music.
Space Jack.
From Space Jack.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so that was a few weeks back. What do we have this week? Let me see. What do we have this week?
Well, why don't you tell us how long you spent on this, John? Like maybe like an hour or something.
On which one? What?
Like this week's stuff.
Oh no! I
You had time to
spent
work
the
on this.
entire week working on this. Like I spent like, yes, I had.
Yeah, and
But, I would secretly, while I'm supposed to be working.
Oh no,
I'm actually coding.
don't expose yourself on stream.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So yeah, let me show you what we have this week. Progress.
Progress.
Dang.
So right. So back to the topic. So what I had a few weeks back, Tetris with some music playing in the background. So I was using a clip from Space Jack, one of the background music pieces.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I was playing it as a full. It was stored in ROM as a full wave, uncompressed wave form, and so that was taking up a lot of space, and that wouldn't allow me to put it on the GBA using the multi-boot functionality. If in case you don't know, multi-boot refers to the network connector thingy that your GBA has, so that you can transfer sort of game ROMs over. I think some games like Mario Kart or something allow you to play with others through the GBA cable without having to have the other player buy the game as well. Is that right? Did I say that right? I think I
Yeah, I think you said that right. Yeah.
So anyway, so using the same technology, we can transfer ROMs from our computer to the GBA. But my ROM was too huge for this method because the uncompressed music was huge. And I was trying to find a different way of doing it. And so I'm following a tutorial on the web called Deku's Sound on Game Boy Advance tutorial, mixer tutorial or something. So basically we're writing an audio mixer for the GBA. And I have been working on this for 2 weeks now.
Okay.
All right. The whole idea of writing this audio mixer is so that I get to play mod files, the old school Amiga mod files that that people commonly use to compose chiptune in.
Or demo scene music stuff.
Yes, demo scene music. Yes.
Right.
So yes, I'm working on it. It's buggy, and I'm still debugging it. But I have learned a great deal about the mod file format. If this still doesn't work, next week I am going to find a library that loads mod files.
Why don't you show us like what kind of problem it was? You mentioned you're fighting with some nightmare, right? You know, like the nightmare sound or whatever. Like, maybe you can play it. And
could you not hear it?
We can see how nightmarish it is. Oh, what is supposed to play?
Okay. You can't hear it, right?
I hear a lot of buzzing.
Yeah, or what was supposed to play.
But what is the original audio supposed to sound like? Oh wait,
right.
I think I can hear something.
It was some weird buzzing.
No, it's just some buzzing.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was a melody in it. There was a melody. It was very hard to hear.
I see.
Right. So let me see if I can. Loki Tracker. Let's go.
Let me lower my background music so I can hear you. Okay.
This is the original music I was supposed to play.
Okay. So basically, we hear none of this.
We hear none of this. We hear a bit of this.
A bit of this.
So I'm messing around and just trying to play just the bass line. Yeah. So if you listen really, really, really closely to the GBA thing, you hear a bit of it in the background. It's really hard to hear.
Okay.
It's very.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I'm still debugging it. What I did was I wrote a test program for the computer, and then I'm outputting chunks of it to basically a raw file, and using FFmpeg to play it out. Yeah, and there you have it. So it kind of sounds there. Let me just put more samples. So you kind of have that, but it doesn't sound exactly like the original one that you have.
Right.
Yeah.
So the pitch is wrong, and there seems to be still a little bit more buzzing somewhere in there. And what's worse is that when I change some parameters, it just completely goes bork. So
Really?
I'm still trying to debug that. Yeah. I'm supposed to get like 304 4 samples per frame of the GBA.
Mm-hmm.
So it plays 304 audio samples, 304 bytes per frame. But for some reason, I think if I do this, it will completely die on me. Anyway.
Die on you as in...
Oh, it will sound really bad.
Okay.
Let me just...
Let me lower my volume and listen to this.
Also lower my volume.
Let's see if this works.
Oh my. Wow.
So yes, I have a lot more work to do. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Sounds fun.
But in the meantime, that's what I have to show for this week. I'm still working on it.
No, I think that's the cool part, right? Like the general process that you're going through. cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Really
I think, yeah, I will not. I don't think I ever see myself working at such low level, but it's nice to watch someone do it.
Maybe I should have just used the library.
No, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, where's the fun in that?
What's the fun in that?
Programming is about doing things the hard way.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for sharing
Coding
this,
on the
John.
command line. Coding on the command line and playing everything through the command line. Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
but
it's fun.
what do you intend to work on next week? Like I think you mentioned you want to try fixing this, right? If not, you'll use a library, right? Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I'm going to cry now. No, nothing else yet.
Thanks for sharing, John.
I hope I have a lot more to show next week.
No, I think this is fine. I think you often bring variety, to this chat because you're always experimenting. Last time you were showing what Arduino stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ever intend to go back to Arduino again?
Oh yes.
One of these days.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, right, John? I was working on some lower level audio stuff with raw files, trying to make it so that like a Discord bot could go into voice chat and like record down what people are saying by converting their stuff using like Google's like machine learning like text to speech to texting. And I encountered similar problems with like this, and it will just like, and I'll just play it, and it will just like scream in my ear. So I feel your pain.
Does it sound anything human?
No, sometimes it will sound human. It will be going. I'm like, what's going on? I just give up.
I see.
Stuff that you hear in Silent Hill when
exactly.
when the sacrifice is complete and the spawn of Satan is coming out to plunge the world in darkness.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Is that the plot of Silent Hill?
Not two. I only know the plot of two.
Okay. Awesome. That's it, John.
Yeah, that's it.
I guess
Nice.
that's my turn then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. I don't have much. Hang on. Where's me stuff? Share my screen. Share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's visible, right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so just give me a moment, eh? So remember, Chao, you were talking to me about the Bezier Curve, or rather the quadratic one, right? The quadratic implementation of the Bezier Curve. So I needed to use that to fix a particular problem with my UI, and that problem, right, I will try to show here. So the one on the right is the build from last week. This is the one from this week. So let me just. I'm not entirely sure if it's very obvious from here, but do you see the difference between the two, right? John and Chao.
I mean, they faded out too, right?
Right. So the intention is for the focus, right? It's supposed to be on the button labeled 1. So that's why the highlighter is here. The highlighter, right? The box which I call the highlighter is here. As long as the button is within the highlighter, right, it will show this additional text. And my intention is that whichever button is being highlighted, the number next to it, right, should be closer to the button, and it should be brighter as well, right? It shouldn't be faded out. So, so you can kind of see the difference now between the two, where this is the intended effect and this isn't. My implementation from last week is such that the peak of the curve, which is this one, is in right smack in the middle of the screen. So the positioning of the label as well as this alpha value, they are all calculated based off the peak of the curve. And the peak of the curve in this case, right, is right smack in the center, and it does not sync up with the highlighter, and that's where I have this discrepancy that happens. So after you mentioned Bezier Curve, I thought, hey, actually I can use this to solve my problem. So that's why I went ahead, right, and did some revision on the curves. So first and foremost, I mean, we do the basic rendering of the curve, and then the idea is after I render the curve, right, I need to find the intersection. Hang on. After I've done the curve, where's my pen? Oh, there we go. Oops, sorry, you didn't. Hang on. Let me just. So once I have a curve, the idea is I want to find the intersection of each button along the curve, and I guess like one might naively say that since when t equals to 0, right, my point is here, my control the position is at the very first control point, and when t is equals to 1, the position will be right at the end. Then I might, like, one might think that I can calculate the t, right, based on the percentage of the position that I want along this line, but it doesn't really work that way, because if we were to move the control point around, right, we can see that the density of the dots changing, so it doesn't really move along the curve very linearly. So that's why we need to actually calculate the intersection of the horizontal line and the curve. So this would be the two quadratic equations representing the curve, right? One for the x component and one for the y component. So with that, we can solve for the intersection, right, between the curve and the line.
Yeah.
So that's what this particular yellow dot is. So once I have that, I have some progress, but then I encounter another problem. So here's the thing, right? My intention was to have the peak of the curve. The peak of the curve be right smack in the middle of the highlighter, right? So at first I was naively thinking that since the curve, right, is composed of 3 control points, right, and if the middle control point, right, is in terms of its y value, if it is right smack in the center or between the start and end points, then the peak would match where this control point is, right? So that's what's happened if your third control point, which let's call it the handle, if the handle is in between the start and end point, unfortunately, if you were to shift this handle, right, anywhere below or towards the upwards, right, then the peak no longer matches. So you can kind of see that there is an error. So I kind of highlighted the error. So the green dot is where the peak is. And if we were to, we can calculate, right? We can, the peak is the first derivative of this x function, right? And if it is equals to 0, if we solve this particular equation, we get t equals to 0.5. That's where the peak is. And the unfortunate thing is, I realized the peak doesn't exactly match where the third control point is. I mean, there's some relationship with the position of the handle, but
this is why you wanted 4 control points.
So that's why I was thinking if I have 4 control points, I might have more control over it. But I didn't really need to do that in the end, because the idea is that there is some kind of a relationship between the how big the error is and where this handle is, right? So I was thinking, if I want the peak of the curve, right, to be where this horizontal line is, then I guess I just need to shift the control point further down, right? So then there is a way to solve this as well. So we know for a fact that at the peak the y is 0.5, so this is a known value. We know for a fact, okay, this is 0.5. We know for a fact that we know where the peak is. The peak is where the highlighter is, so it's all related. Alright, and then if I start filling in the value, right, I'm left with only one unknown, which is the y position of the handle. So then I can solve for that as well, which leads me to this. Right, and now it matches where I want it to be. And you can see that the purple dot is the actual position of the new position of the handler. This is after the correction, right? Accounting for the error. So with that, I can perfectly match up where the pick is with where my highlighter is. So if I just go to restart all, yeah, you can kind of see this green line represents where the peak is.
Yeah.
And we can see that this red curve, well, it's the Bezier curve itself, the quadratic curve. The peak matches where the green line is. This yellow line represents the Y position of the control point, the middle control point, which we call the handler. So I'm able to adjust the curve exactly. I'm able to adjust the peak of the curve exactly where I need it now, and as the box shifts, right, the curve shifts as well. So I no longer have that discrepancy between the position and the alpha value of the label, right, and the where I want the. And well, hang on, how do I phrase this? I no longer have the discrepancy between. Dang, I cannot English. No longer have a discrepancy where the position of the label and the alpha value doesn't match which button is being highlighted. Yeah. Right. So as I move upwards, you can kind of see that the position of the label and the difference between the position of the handler and the actual peak, right, gets smaller and smaller as we reach the middle of the screen, which matches the observation from earlier. So that, okay, it locks in place, and then this is where we match the exact same curve from last week, right? So red curve represents the actual Bezier curve. The green one represents the remapped value of the red curve. So I mapped it to look like the sine curve from last week. Then the size of the green dot is the alpha value. So I'm basically just using all of the values from the green curve, right, onto the label itself. And there we have it. Yeah. So obviously none of this will show. So all of this is supposed to be as invisible as possible. So same thing here. Right, it's like that. Right, but the idea is that whichever button is in focus, it should feel natural. Yeah. Obviously, there's a bit more that I can do. Like for example, maybe the button that is in focus can be like slightly brighter than the other buttons as well. So yeah, minor tweaks, right? But all in all, I think I'm finally done with the world selection, and I believe that next week I will be moving on to fixing. I will be moving on to making more levels, right? I think I need to start pumping out content. But there is also the problem from last week. Remember, as I play there's this particular scene, right? Go to 27. Hang on. Right, I said something about the spacing not being maintained. So it is an issue with the delta time, but it's not just the delta time, because delta time, it just means that we are accounting for how much time has passed, right? But the problem happens when my character hits the wall. So my collision response, right, simply kind of eradicate this penetrator distance. It just pushes the character outwards like that, and then just set its velocity to be on the opposite, to point in the opposite direction. But however much you travel here, right, it's gone. It's gone. So if I have fluctuating frame rate, right, then the amount of the penetration distance can vary, and over time this error accumulates, and that's what caused the desyncing of the spacing between the characters. So I kind of need to fix that as well. I mean, I have two solutions. One is I just lock the delta time. If I'm releasing this on PC, right, then locking delta time is perfectly fine. But since I'm releasing on mobile, and then especially on Android, there are a lot of lower end devices. I don't really want to lock the delta time, so I have to look into fixing that. I tried fixing that, but I think I did some careless mistake, so it didn't actually work. So I have to look into it.
If you lock it and it will match up, it will cut in half as well, right?
But
for a lot of engines. I'm not sure if it's for GameMaker.
if
as
I
well.
lock it, it will cut in half. Oh, sorry. Can
Like
you
for example,
elaborate?
it's 60 FPS and you can't reach 60 FPS, right?
Mm-hmm,
A lot of mobile devices will actually cut it to 30 FPS. Like it will actually
Right,
run
right.
the logic at 30 FPS.
I meant locking as in I fixed. I think I shouldn't be using the term locking. I mean, I'm going to fix it to 1/60. That would fix the problem. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Okay,
used the wrong
sorry.
term. I should not say lock. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like lock means there's an upper bound, right? But that's not what I mean. I mean like I fix it to literally be 1/60. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I have to look into fixing this. It's a naggy problem that I had for a while, and I'm only just planning to fix this. Yeah.
I don't know if you thought about this yet, but like one potential solution could be, since the problem is that the penetration distance is being discarded, right?
Yes.
If you could somehow incorporate that into the way they bounce off the walls, then maybe that can fix
Yeah.
it.
That is what I did yesterday, but I think I made some careless mistake. So basically, after resolving the penetration, right, what I did is I pushed them forward by exactly this amount.
Yeah.
And in theory that should work lah. But when I tested out last night, it broke. It broke.
Okay.
And I'm not entirely sure why. So that is one of the things that I will further spend my time on. I'm guessing it's a careless mistake, so I'll have to look into that again. Right. So that is one thing I need to fix this. That being one of the tasks I need to work on. Next would be more mechanics. More mechanics in that I want to. I have this mechanic called a spring, right? That if you step on it, it bounces you off. I kind of want a spring that is horizontal as well, just for the fun of it. That's one thing, right? I think that would add on to more like level design potential, because I have cannons, right? Maybe I can like have the cannons. How do I put it? Like you have to use the cannon to aim yourself into the spring, and then you can start seeing your character flying everywhere. So that's one thing.
Right.
And next will be more levels. So I think this will be the three things I'm going to work on. And I think like next week onwards, I'll actually have a little bit more time because it's finally the school holidays.
Yay! Nice.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I have. That's all I have.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking of actually adding springs to my game as well.
Why not? Why not?
It's
It's
pretty
fun,
cool.
right? Yeah.
I just took cannons from you, so might as well also steal.
It's fun. You see. Here's the thing, right? Like the thought process is, especially for my game, right? The core mechanic is in navigating the environment,
Right.
and the way to navigate it is by jumping. So
Yeah.
so we kind of every single mechanic that is added kind of either adds on to this or kind of changes up how you think about jumping. So
Yeah.
So I mean, I will also be thinking about like other mechanics that challenges the player on like how they can think about navigating the environment as well.
Right. Because since it's your core pillar, you want everything to be based around that. So I guess stuff like zoom pads, stuff that will modify verticality, stuff like that will be good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, the thing that I have not actually consider, right, is whether I should have the player interact with the enemy. So in a sense, right, my enemy is just a walking obstacle, right? You cannot step on it, you cannot do anything with it. It's just there to block you and you jump over it. So in a sense, it kind of matches up with the, like when you time your jump. Previously, it's a static spike is you kind of can just wait for your player to get closer to the spike and press jump, right? But with a moving enemy, you kind of you need to have a better grasp of your timing, right? You need to be a bit more precise with your jumping. But then I'm not entirely sure if I should like go further and make it such that you are able to interact with the enemy or attack them in some form. Like I think that might actually bring my game further away from the core mechanics that I want to focus on, but I'm not entirely too sure.
I don't think so. Like if you look at like Downwell, right, it follows the core philosophy of that like having one thing do multiple things is good because that makes more interactions within your core game loop. So for example, in Downwell, right, if you jump, you also shoot, right?
Yes.
For example, if we have if you can interact with the enemies in Jump Jaboa, right, and you're, for example, able to jump on them, right, maybe not kill them, but just jump on them,
Right.
That does give another way of accurately traversing the level. So that does still play into your core pillars, I think.
True.
As long as the interaction with the enemy is in some way related to movement, I think it makes sense. Like for example, right, like a shield enemy that you can like jump on top of and after jump off that or something like that.
That's true. I think my concern is that I have like about 40 levels now, and all these 40 levels, right, none of them involves interaction with the enemy. So if I were to have that, right, I have to kind of think about how to arrange this level so that it doesn't feel too jarring, right? Like everything has to be gradual, so I have to like teach the player and set up the expectation correctly. So I think that is just one of the challenges lah. Like is it too late for me to work on this, or how much work will it take, right, if I want this particular mechanic in? So it's something that I'll have to think about. But thanks for the suggestion though.
I forgot that there are already a bunch of levels. So I guess that will make it a lot harder.
But it's just more to ponder over, and that's the fun of game dev, right? You can think about all of this stuff.
I mean, if you just another thought, I guess, if you really wanted to, like, you could just keep the enemies as this and just have one enemy that has like a shield or something.
One enemy that has like a shield. So you can jump on them, right?
They have a different color. Like right now the enemies are all red, right?
Yeah.
He could have like a white shield that he brings up when you get close to him. Then you can jump on him or something. Or something like that, where like you don't modify what you have right now, but you can add a new enemy type since you were thinking of adding mechanics anyway.
Yeah, I think I just might do that. It sounds good. Cool, man. Yeah. I guess that means we are done, right? We are done. Yay! So just to do a quick recap. Chao, you say next week you are going to show more mechanics, right?
No. I probably can't help myself and probably do some mechanics. but the main goal for next week is to get another level out at least and try to figure out some of the narrative and setting stuff. It might be more of like an art overhaul, more kind of thing. But that's okay. Like I'm not sure if that's alright for the dev stream.
Of course it's alright. Of course it's alright. It doesn't have to purely be technical, right, John? It's anything goes.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like probably more setting stuff. Yeah.
Cool, man. And John
will be fixing the audio.
Right.
The mixer.
Right. Make it not sound like nightmare, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's just more mechanics. All right, man. Shall we call it?
Okay.
Okay, then I'll do a quick one. Task concludes. Dev chat number 26. This is the 26th week that we are doing this, and next week we'll be doing it again with Chao, with John, and myself. Which is next Sunday, same timing, right? 3 p.m. Would that be okay?
Same time, same place.
Sounds good.
Okay. Then I guess we can end it. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
That's okay.